Hey everybody, welcome to our mental performance presentation. Um, Probably one of my favorite subjects other than training. Uh, Athletes can be spectacular in the weight room, spectacular on the ice or the field, whatever they play. But it's truly elite athletes who are able to kind of use their full mental processes to gain an edge on their opponents. So we're going to talk about kind of a variety of different topics. We're not even going to touch on a lot of things that pertain to mental performance, but we're going to talk about the kind of the three ones that I think is gonna guide you in the best direction. So, yeah, three main areas that we're going to talk about today. Controlling the controllables. This is kind of what I've built my whole training philosophy on. A growth mindset. Some of you have probably heard of this. Maybe you haven't heard of this, but it's just the roots of what you need to be kind of a good athlete moving forward. And then mental toughness and competitiveness. So this kind of gets thrown around a lot, but we're going to talk about what it is, how you can develop it. And then there's so many, like I said, there's so many other areas that we're not even gonna touch on today, but it's important that you recognize and understand that they exist. And these are going to be kind of where you transition to after this presentation to develop a well-rounded mindset. So goal setting, focus and attention, being able to think about the right things and look at the right things and being able to kind of lock in on them. Confidence and resiliency, self-talk, what's going on through your head. Mindfulness, that's like kind of living in the moment. In the context of sports, it would be kind of full. All of your energy is right here, right now. It doesn't matter what happened last play or what's going to happen. It's just right here, right now. And then visualization. Again, there's a lot more than just these. It's a whole career that you can have being a sports psychologist. But we're gonna talk about those top three today. And yeah, we're just gonna jump into it, starting with controlling the controllables. So, like I said, this is kind of what I based my whole training philosophy on. There are certain things that you can control and there are certain things that are outside of your control. And we're going to talk about where we're allocating our energy right now, what's the most efficient use of our energy. But we're going to kind of go through some things that are first outside of our control. So we're saying that circle is our control. Things that are outside of it, starting off, maybe travel. So maybe the bus gets delayed or the plane gets canceled. Mom's car breaks down, things like that. That's just something you can't control. So if we spend energy on it, then we're using energy that could be going towards things that we can't control. Scoreboard, if we're down 4-1, can't control that. It is what it is. We can control our action in this next play. Coaches. Yeah, my coach is yeah, he hates me. He hates me, and that's why I'm not playing well. Well, figure it out, talk to your coach, have a conversation. Sometimes you have bad coaches, and that's just how it is. So you have to kind of move on from that quite quickly. Opponents, can't control the opponents. Referees, maybe they make a terrible call. This is why I can't watch basketball or soccer. Um, it's either a three-point shot or somebody drives through the lane, and every single time they drive, they either get a call or they're complaining the whole time. You can't control what the referees do. You can control your actions only. Weather hockey, I guess, is an indoor sport, but you can't control the arena you're playing in. Maybe it's super cold. Maybe the boards are a different material and they feel a lot stiffer. Just small things like that, you can't control. Injuries, we can do our best to prevent injuries, but injuries do happen in sports. If you play sports for a long enough time, you will get injured, as many of you know. And then the fans yelling at you throughout the game. And there's so many more things that you can't control. These are kind of just the ones that come to my mind right away of things that people kind of spend too much energy towards. if we look inside the circles, kind of switching gears to what we can control, there's 5 things, and it's the 5 things that these presentations cover. So we've got nutrition, mindset, sleep, recovery, training. So nutrition, say we can control what we're fueling our body with. Are we eating the complex carbs a couple hours before game time? Are we eating protein after the games, after training sessions to gain muscle? That's what we can control. For our mindset, are we, reading books? Are we practicing mindfulness? Are we doing things to make ourselves more mentally tough? Those are all that you can control. In that, I'd put kind of like effort too would be just the main one. You can control how hard you try in certain situations, always. These are things that you have full control over, and that's what makes training super exciting for me. Sleep, of course, sometimes you have bad sleeps, but you can put yourself in the best situation possible. So, do you have a nighttime routine? Are you getting off your screens before bed? Are you going to bed and waking up at the same time every day? Just small little things. Are you making your room? Are you making your bed every morning? Like, it's just small things that you can control. Recovery, are you foam rolling, stretching, anything like that? Training, if you are you giving full effort into every single rep at every single practice? This is such a big one that's going to separate kind of good players from elite players. So a good player might go through a drill and they'll skate around a cone and do a stick handle and then kind of take a shot. And there's not much focus there. There's not much attention. And as you get better at things, you don't have to have as much intention with it because it'll come more natural. But until you're a professional athlete, you're going to have to focus on every single rep. That's what's going to make you better. So how am I going to take this turn? How am I going to stick handle? Am I going to like really be intentional with the shot in the weight room? Like, yeah, I could do 5 more pounds on this bench press. I can squat 10 more pounds. I can do this. I can push myself harder through this. So that's a just kind of a picture of what you can control versus what you can't control. And this is my favorite example for control of controllables. So your energy is finite. So you don't have endless energy to use throughout the day. Let's say we have 20 matches, so just about the amount in a match book. What are you going to spend every single time that you use or focus on something? Say you complain at a referee or you complain about the weather or your coach. That you take a match, you strike it, and you let it burn down. Now you have one less match. And the way I like to think about this is the person who spends 5 out of their 20 matches on sleep, recovery, mindset training, they're not going to make as much progress as the person who spends all 20 of their matches. All of their energy is put towards what they can control. And that's what's going to separate the people is how many matches are you going to use on the controllables instead of the uncontrollables. So that's kind of our first piece. Next, we're going to move into a fixed versus growth mindset. Maybe you've heard this before, maybe you haven't before. We're going to kind of go through what each of these mean. And this is just so important. And this is just so crucial for athletes and anybody who wants to succeed at anything in life, to have a growth mindset. So first talking about what a fixed mindset is, and it's just super limiting. We're going to talk about what it is, but the fixed mindset, you can't expand your horizons or get better at anything with the fixed mindset. So maybe you've said some of these things, you probably have. It takes very active thought to kind of get out of this and break the pattern of this. So either I can do it or I can't. Failure is the limit of my abilities. Yeah, I failed. That's how good I am. I can't do it. I can't get better at it. That looks hard. Yeah, I don't want to. Count me out. When we look at a growth mindset, it's just so freeing. like how how much better you can be is endless with the growth mindset. You can be whatever you want to be. So instead of the fixed mindset quotes, I can't do that, but yet, like I can do whatever I want. I can whatever I want, I can train towards and do that. So I can't do that yet. Failure is an opportunity to get better. Yeah, I failed. Everyone fails. If you the people in the professional level have to fail so many times to get ahead. They've just failed way more times than you, and that's why they're better than you. That looks hard. Yeah, that looks very, very hard. I like a challenge. I like if I fail, whatever. That's great. I like to be challenged, and that's how you're gonna get better. And I want you to just think about yourself for a minute and just be honest with yourself. No one's holding you accountable here, but be honest with yourself. Which one are you? Maybe you are in a fixed mindset. Maybe it's like, oh man, maybe I have this mindset that is kind of restricting myself. And I hope you can see kind of the value of transitioning towards that growth mindset, which is what we're going to talk about now. And a lot of people have a fixed mindset because it's super easy. It's the path of least resistance per se. So yeah, doing hard stuff sucks. And constantly failing, it's terrible. It's hard on you. So it's a lot easier to just be like, oh yeah, I can't do that. No. I like that's it. I don't want to try harder or anything like that. So this is the easy path. And if you want to be elite, if you want to even be really good, you need to have a growth mindset. And here's kind of what I've accumulated of how you can start to develop the growth mindset. So you have to be deliberate and intentional about the things that you choose to do. So choose the harder option. Or like if there's something that other people don't want to do, and you don't want to do it, that's probably the option that's going to make you better. And that's what's going to separate you from other people. Choose the hard option. If we have the option of basketball or sprints at the end of in the gym, vote for sprints. Egg your teammates on, try and get better here. Be vulnerable. So you are going to fail, and it's not fun failing. But you have to view this as kind of a chance to learn and grow. Maybe yeah, I didn't reach the outcome that I wanted today, but I learned from the experience, and I know that I can get better at the skill. And that's growth right there. And then detach the outcome. So kind of just what I touched on there. The outcome isn't as important as the growth along the way. So I'm a rock climber. If I fail a route on the wall, I hate it. I'm a super competitive person. I'm very upset. But I have to kind of frame it differently. It has to be, yes, I've failed, but I learned maybe I took a new move away. Maybe I now know that my heel has to slide over just a little bit to the right. Or I have to just crimp a little bit harder with my hand, or maybe I learned something internally about how my body moves. You always have to take things that you can learn away. And and that's kind of the way to develop a growth mindset. So choose the harder route, be intentional, and don't think about the outcome as always just the main thing that you're taking away, the kind of the win and loss category. Think about how else you can frame it to take more away from the experience. And lastly, we're going to kind of touch on mental toughness and then competitiveness after. So this is a phrase that just gets thrown around way too much. And as a strength coach, I see it all the time with some of my peers where it is screaming at athletes and being a drill sergeant to try and create some mental toughness. And I think this is they're just going about it the whole wrong way. Because I'm not going to be there when you're playing in game 5 or game 7. You have to be the one that is mentally tough. So yelling at people doesn't do anything. It just belittles them and treats them like a kind of a lower level human being, which I don't believe in. Here's how I define mental toughness. It's a psychological edge that helps you cope better than your opponents with the intense demands of your sport. Sport is very intense. There's high competition. There are great athletes flying around, and how are you gonna cope with it? Another good quote that I like is mental toughness is a refusal to be intimidated, a determination to finish a contest even when things are going badly, and an ability to control emotions and remain highly focused when under the pressure of intense competition. So again, how are you responding when things go south? How focused are you and in control of your emotions are you when pressures get high? Here's pretty much what it is. What are you willing to do to get what you want? And that's going to touch on the competitive spirit as well. And just another reflection. How resilient and confident do you remain when adversity strikes? Maybe you have really good self-awareness and you're like, yeah, when it gets down to the third period, my production just shuts off because I kind of just tighten up and I don't let the game flow to me. So maybe this is something you need to work on. Speaking of that, can you train mental toughness? I believe that you can train really anything. I guess that's growth mindset. But I think that you can take anything within your control. Here's how you can do it. View bad situations as a test. If you think that nothing bad is ever going to happen to you in sports and in life, you're going to be very, very upset. Bad things are going to happen. You have to uh, see how you respond. It's your response that kind of shapes how mentally tough you are. Are we just saying, "Oh, the world hates me. I'm so unlucky," or are we saying, "Man, this world is really taking a toll on me. Like, I'm gonna try and bounce back right now and show it really how tough I am." Mental toughness is also a growth mindset. So if you can always kind of keep it in your mind, man, this really, really sucks. Let's see if I can learn something from this and maybe I'll grow from it. That's what's gonna help you. And then finally, it's reps. If you are extremely, extremely confident in your skills because you've done it so many times over time, then you'll be all right. You can live with the outcome if you've done everything possible and you still lose, you can live with the outcome. So create mental toughness through reps, create mental toughness by developing that growth mindset and just the way that you think. Things are a test. Bad things are going to happen in sports. You're going to get injured. Um, how can you respond? The other team's in a score. Now what? Okay, and then the last thing that we're going to talk about that kind of links in with mental toughness is being a competitor. And this is what separates guys like Michael Jordan and Tom Brady from other athletes. Tom Brady is nowhere near the most athletic person on the football field. Nowhere near, but somehow he's the greatest football player of all time. Michael Jordan probably isn't like he's very athletic, but he is not the most athletic person naturally. He was the one that started lifting weights pretty much before everybody else because he kept getting beat up. He was willing to do whatever it took to compete and win. Um, just another football story as well. There's a couple coaches in the NFL now, Jim and John Harbaugh, and their dad Jack was a legendary football coach as well. But anyways, when his kids were younger, they were in school and they were always getting in kind of scraps and trying to compete in class. And their teacher told the dad, yeah, the boys are good, but they're just too competitive. And Jack, the dad, had a great response, and he said that he'd hunt the teacher down, or some phrasing of that, he'd find the teacher and be very angry with him if he tried to squeeze that competitive juice out of his sons because he knows that's what makes elite athletes and elite human beings is being a mega competitor. So, athlete versus competitor, what's the difference? Athletes play sports. They go out and they play the sport. Competitors don't care what they're doing. They want to completely dominate by any means necessary. Michael Jordan will do anything to win at anything. Tom Brady was telling stories about how they'd play video games when he was in the NFL and when he was first in the NFL, kind of living with some other guys. And they had holes in their wall because he would get so angry at this game and he would throw the remote through the wall. And I'm not saying that that's good behavior at all, but it's just the type of like competitive freaks that these guys are. Here's a funny quote. Michael Jordan is a jerk. That jerk is a substituted word for something with a little bit more profanity, and wasn't nice to his teammates. And I think it's pretty funny. We're gonna talk about it kind of on the next slide here. He wanted to win. If the best way for him to win was to be a jerk to his teammates, then he'll do it. He doesn't care if he's making friends or not out there. He's trying to win. Becoming a great competitor. How can I become a better competitor? Simple. Find how to win, take any path and do anything necessary to win and achieve excellence. I'm not saying cheat the game or take steroids or anything like that. I'm saying do everything within your control to win. Get more reps in practice. Push your teammates harder, like Michael Jordan. Put your heart and soul into every practice, workout, and game, and just refuse to lose. Just do everything possible not to lose. And that's what makes a great competitor. You gotta remember there's a difference between being an athlete and a competitor. And it's what separates the elite from the really good. So that's all I'm really gonna go into detail. You got to remember that there's a ton others. So we talked about controlling the controllables, developing growth mindset, learning mental toughness, and becoming a ruthless competitor. Remember that there's so many other aspects of mental performance within sports, but these four things, if you have a growth mindset, so you believe that you can learn anything or get better at anything, and you know what you can control, so you know what to focus on. You are a ruthless competitor, so you're willing to do whatever it takes. That's going to naturally lead you down the path of, okay, I want to do whatever it takes to get better. Let's look into this visualization. Let's look into this mindfulness. Let's look into goal setting. This is just kind of building the blocks for you to go and explore other things. And that's why I love the mental performance of sports, because it's what separates the good from the great. So I hope you learned something there, and yeah, hope you enjoyed it.